Have you found a way to set yourself as an authority in the healthcare space instantly and boost your reputation toward your patients and be connected with hundreds and thousands of leaders just like you to support each other and to accelerate together? Stay tuned for this episode as we discover the tips for how you're going to do that.
Private practice owners, are you ready to rewrite the rules for your practice so you can have more time off, a great team, and more income while delivering better patient care? Then you're in the right place.
Hi, everyone. This is Sabrina Runbeck here to our very first episode of the Provider's Edge TV. We're going bigger and better. And after more than 100 episodes on the Provider's Edge podcast, we have refocused and now launching into the new space of leveraging media in an even different level. So now you can watch us, connect to us from our website, sabrinarunbeck.com, and also on Roku, Fire, Apple TV. So I'm so excited to be in this space because, healthcare has been different. We have been seeing a huge amount of staff turnover, and it's really not just in the healthcare space. And one of the major things is due to overworked people. We are so burned out and inefficiency in our system. And also what I believe inefficiency also come from how we lead, how we represent ourselves. So today I am so fortunate to be in this space with you guys and have one of my great colleague, partner, and really a mentor, Josh, here with us to talk about why are we even going media? Why are we talking about our ideas in healthcare, whether it's innovation, individual private practice, or running your organization? Why do we even share? And what's the importance of leveraging media for expanding your network, collaboration, set authority, and all the good stuff? So again, thank you for being here and can't wait to continue this conversation. Hi, Josh. Thanks for spending some time with me on the first episode of the Provider's Edge.
For sure, Sabrina, this is very exciting. On your way to becoming the queen of all media.
I see that there are definitely a shift, especially in the last couple of years of healthcare professionals building their own podcast, start going to even more media speaking and shows, as I have experience of speaking on conferences that is traditional way, virtual, and also taking into a bigger stage. So what have you been seeing in some of the movements? And I would love to hear some of your takes of why do providers and leaders really should leveraging this platform?
Yeah. And I've been studying and leading on consumer behavior for 15 and a half years now as a syndicated newspaper columnist, nationally syndicated newspaper columnist. I've been on TV more than 800 times. So I really want to pay attention to how consumers are making their decisions today. And I believe that the leader, the business leader and the health professional that wins today makes it insanely easy for your customers, your clients, your partners, your employees, your investors. You want to make it very, very easy to create proximity together. So proximity is if I can, and Sabrina, I'm sure you've had this experience in your work because of how much content you create, when you're able to eventually have a conversation with somebody and they got on a call or they were to step into your office and they would say, I've watched all your videos, I've read your book, I listen to your podcast, like I've spent hours with you virtually before I ever stepped in the room, and I know, and the person, our friend who's listening to us right now or watching us right now, you know what that experience is like. Like that is going to be a really great person to work with. They already know, like, and trust you. They have this massive, what we call familiarity bias. So familiarity bias is like one day when I was going into a green room in Grand Rapids, Michigan, I was just sitting there. All of a sudden, this guy comes in. I'm like, that looks like Huey Lewis of Huey Lewis in the News. Sure enough, it was Huey Lewis. And so all of a sudden, I'm transported to the hours and hours and hours that I spent with Huey virtually, at summers at my Uncle Kenny's house, listening to the album Sports. And so he comes in, and it was really hard for me to try to keep it cool. Because I was like fanboy, fangirling a little bit on him, but I tried to play cool. But that's it. That's what we want to create, right? We want to create that for your clients, because if you can become incredibly accessible, if you're a healthcare professional and now you've got this, you're on YouTube, you're on TikTok, you're on social, you're creating content, and you not only just you don't want to just create the thing once and then it gets buried into the lifetime. You want to get really good at repurposing and delivering your message everywhere. You want your message to be where your audiences are today.
Yes, that's so crucial. Is we have to figure out who our audience are. Now, this show are specifically for the practice owners, the leaders, the people who are innovators, who are disruptors in healthcare. So being on this show, we know we're going to connect it with equal level of success and like-mindedness, so we can truly rewrite the rules for healthcare practices and how we treat patients, how we treat our staff, and how we create our own life. And that's why my mission has always been helping providers, leaders like you guys to control your practice, control your life, and then you can truly control your future. And that can be done with many different things, and people can be very distracted. And that's why we needed to really focusing on productivity, on time, on how you value what you need to do. And I think in healthcare, so crucial is that we do a lot of things and we get so excited over a lot of things. And we think that we're already so productive on doing a lot of things. But we all know in reality, being busy and being effective and getting the result that you want are so different. And
yes.
When we are busy doing busy work, and even you think that's the right quote unquote, without a third party, a clean pair of eyes has not been so involved in what you did today, how you speak, how you communicate. When you don't see what you're not seeing, you will never able to move forward. So that's what I love to serve people in the space of optimizing our individual provider leadership efficiency, and then optimize our practice efficiency with the right team. How do you attract the right people? How do you go get over the conflict, but use that conflict to actually up-level people, and how we can use technology to help us instead of feeling like, oh, big data is going to be taking away my authenticity or my authority. And what Josh said is so crucial. We have to be with people where they are. We can't think anymore as I learned all this, I build my practice, people just come to us. I think that's just idealistic of saying that, oh, patient will love us, and then eventually tell people, and that people will tell people. That's correct. But we still have to be out there, to put ourselves out there to represent who we are. Do you think that's like a crucial thing? And that's why being able to speak on shows, and then that's my true feeling is that we know in reality, if you guys haven't gotten into podcasts or media much, if the show is ranked less than 10%, top 10% globally, they probably barely have 30 to 40 downloads per week. So don't really think there's just so many shows, there's so many new shows. So that's not going to get you that further of where you need to go. You need to actually do a bit of research or the host like myself has been in media for many years, being trained with Josh and many other big people to learn how to position ourselves. And therefore, I have a whole team. And people always like, Sabrina, I don't get it. You still practice clinically and you do your advisor, you speak, you do your media, what the heck? And like, you're doing too much. Like, well, I do intentionally with a set amount of time, with a huge team that can do this for me, right? And that's how we become efficient. So just I know you help a lot of people in that world of representing themselves confidently on camera and being positioning. How do you put everything together also efficiently?
Yeah, well, certainly, again, as I mentioned earlier, repurposing is a big part of that. And I think that maybe someone that's listening to our conversation, Sabrina, might be a little stressed when they think about this pressure that they have to be everywhere. But the reality is, what and why I'm such a big fan of video-based conversations like this is because while you and I are having this conversation, I mean, you're dispensing a lot of wisdom. And so what's nice about this is your team afterwards can now go through and create all these different snippets. And again, to our friend that's listening to our conversation right now, you think, well, oh my goodness, this might end up costing a little bit of money. And yeah, it will. Like, you're going to have some, some efforts. There's a lot of great technology out there. But when you compare apples to apples versus how much it costs to put a big advertisement in your local region, your local neighborhood magazine versus investing in great content that you can use over and over and over and over again, all of a sudden, we put ourselves in a position where we don't have to pay for attention as much anymore. Because I think it was the founder of Geek Squad who famously said, advertising is the tax you pay for being unremarkable. So our goal here, and I think there's two ways that you can do this that I'm a big fan of. Number one is we've been talking about is content and reusing that content, repurposing that content, and finding all sorts of different ways that you can get that in the hands. Make sure, if you're going to go through the effort to create these video clips, why not embed them on a page on your website, where you can talk about your services and what makes you unique, with your patients and with your clients. But I'll say that the other reason that I'm such a big fan of content, platform, and media is that it is the ultimate networking tool. It is the ultimate networking tool. So just kind of put some ideas out there, Sabrina. And I know that, you work with some amazing, amazing people who are growing their practices. They are also, though, trying to balance that, versus, their own personal bandwidth. But, if we kind of go back to, some E-Myth stuff, our number one responsibility is certainly if we're the founder CEO or if we're somehow responsible for the growth within our organization, well, that's where we should be spending a good chunk of our time is on growth. And I would argue that I don't think that there is a whole lot more productive when it comes to growth strategy than high-level networking. Great example of this. If you are a healthcare professional and you rely upon word of mouth, and by the way, if you're not leveraging word of mouth and referral-based marketing, I strongly recommend you start focusing more there because that's how consumers buy today. I don't really care about who's got the biggest, bus ad. I want to know when I ask a question in my neighborhood Facebook group, who is the who's the pediatrician that you recommend? And all of a sudden your name keeps getting mentioned several times. You win. That's how consumers are doing business today. So what I want you to do is again, to our practice owner, to our professionals listening, think about and dedicate maybe an hour every week to straight up authority building and high-level networking within your community. And which is why I come back to media as being such a big fan of that. Are there ways that you can, from a how to win friends, influence people, invest into relationships? And if you'll be willing to do that and you make other people look great, this collaborative work, I truly believe that if you come into a market with generosity, like that's just who you are, that's one of your core values. I believe on the whole, you will not be able to outgive the market, because once you have 100, 200, 300 centers of influence who, when asked, who is the healthcare professional that you would trust in our community, and they don't hesitate to mention your name, guess what? It's game, set, match. Your business is taken care of. Ray, who does my plumbing, does the plumbing for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of homeowners. And Ray has not advertised in 15 years. He just has he's a very nice, friendly person, very affable, charges a fair rate. He's not the most expensive. He's certainly not the cheapest, but he works very hard to cultivate great relationships within the community. And as a result, Ray is set for life when it comes to business. Follow the Ray the plumber model.
Yes, that's so crucial. I know both Josh and I, we love Bob Burke's Go Giver books, and there's multiple series on how do you really be able to serve and be able to receive. Because in psychology, we know there's two types of people. The ones who feel like, well, I'm not sure if I receive the opportunity, someone help me, what do I have to get back? And they feel like in that lacking state of not enough. Or they're all the way on the other spectrum of high ego of, who are you guys to tell me to serve me? Like I can't figure anything out, which is a great mentality with problem solving, that we can be resourceful and to solve everything. However, if we're not leveraging the right resources, you end up doing what I call a lack of freedom. And because you get into the vortex of distraction. So one of the biggest things when I talk about freedom is a compass. And you have 4 zones. You have the desire, the distraction, the disinterest, and the discouragement. So if we don't understand where we're laying, most of my clients, even some friends, are staying everywhere else but the desire zone. So if we're talking about the 80-20 rules, you really should be staying 80% in your desire zone and not let your brain just say, no, I don't have enough money, resources, people to do all these things, so I have to. And that's just what you are, or your brain created. That's not reality. Right? If you leverage the right resources, the right people, you will always get there. However, first of all, you have to be open. You have to be open to give. And when it comes to collaboration, I also have seen 2 ways. People who straight up, we know LinkedIn is a great platform to actually connect with people. However, some people will say, no, Sabrina, everyone is selling to me. Well, how are you showing up? If you're showing up to intentional to learn from each other, to actually collaborate, do some good together, then no, you will not be attracted to those people. And if those people come to your way, you simply say, no, thank you. And you can move on. And that's no harm done, because at every day, every moment, technically we are selling no matter what we do. We're selling to our partners on what we wanted to eat for lunch. We are selling to our patients on what they should do to take care of themselves. And we also needed to sell for insurance company to say, why are we building this service for the right reason? So it's okay to think about selling as a positive way, because we actually giving impact.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, Sabrina, I wanted to just chat a little bit about the evolution, the expansion that's taken place with the Provider's Edge. Do you mind, maybe is this now a good time to talk about the opportunity to, those leaders in healthcare today and the opportunity that they have?
Yeah, perfect. For people who don't know me that as well, I have been in healthcare for more than 12 years. And I was just the typical busy bee, right? You did everything, you have to do it. No one else can do it. Otherwise, we feel like, oh my God, I don't know what's happening, right? And then, so 2 bachelor's, 2 master's later, I landed into cardiothoracic surgery. I loved it. I thought that, wow, heart disease is the number one killer in the country and most of the world. So let's really get a definitive help for our patients and give them that treatment plan and take them from that hopelessness to we can really extend your life's expansion. But that also means what? We work 80 plus hours a week. We take care of everything and you don't even sleep sometimes. But that's not sustainable. And I know so many of our providers are working that way. So I had to go back to my root in neuroscience and public health and really think about how are we as leaders, as providers, be able to integrate our knowledge, but not feeling like we're hustling all the time, we're draining. And so I dive deeper into performance sciences and learn from all the bigger researchers on turning that around. So now I concentrated and created the Provider's Edge specifically on how can we gain better control of our practice, your life, and your future based on different research-backed time management skills. But really, it's not about managing your time, right? We know it's managing your focus, your energy, your activity, and how to create a system that works for you. So then we know the biggest thing in healthcare, we actually don't collaborate as much. Suddenly people go to networking event. If they do, it seems like we're just talking about ourselves, but people don't really know exactly what you need and how to help you. And so that's one of the reasons I want to have this platform. And then we're taking into TV to interview successful practice leaders and owners to highlight your work. Because when you are able to spotlight yourself, your practice, and be so authentic about it, it is in a giving way, and people wanted to be connected with you. And I also host a monthly healthcare disruptor think tank. I would love to feature you in there and to give you the opportunity to meet other high-level leaders to be in synced with each other so we can create amazing things in healthcare altogether much faster than when we're doing it by ourselves and feeling like a lone wolf and feeling like I have to keep it as a secret because other people have to might take it and run with it. Well, if you are the giving state, we also know by research, there's 3 types of people: the giver, the takers, and the matchers. And research has shown us that givers in the long run will always beat out the results and performance of the takers and matchers. So I would love to host successful practice owners like you guys to be featured, and because you guys are givers.
Awesome. So if you are, or you know somebody who is a high authority private practice owner, Sabrina, they just go to your website. That's sabrinarunbeck.com. Click on podcast. And then right on that page, you'll see a link where you can schedule to be a guest on the show, on the podcast. It's no charge. Just, we'd love to hear your story. And Sabrina, I know you'd love to share their story and that conversation. So to our friend that's listening, think of who you know that's doing well as a private practice owner in the medical, dental, holistic industry. Again, you're probably a good guest would probably, Sabrina, what else would you recommend in terms of what's going on, or maybe their values or mission, purpose, that sort of thing?
Yes. So beyond what we already shared, I would love to especially host the practice owners who already have a team, because we know we can't do everything alone. And even you have a telemedicine type of virtual, you still have to have a team to help you with marketing, to help you with the back end, to help you with scheduling. So we would love to feature people who has gone through the hurdles, the challenges, and already seen wins, seen the growth projection, and be able to talk about these different things that the newer practices would not see, and be able to be relatable. And when you can share your unique ability, I'm sure a lot of other people wanted to learn from you and also refer patients to you too.
Awesome. All right, Sabrina, Thank you so much for having me to have this conversation together. Congratulations on the launch of video. Congratulations on the growth of the podcast. I know you have an amazing audience. I'm just honored to be here.
Thank you so much, Josh. And thank you everyone for joining us. And then I will hope to see you on the show soon.
Are you an established owner or executive who has a thriving and successful healthcare practice? We want to hear your story live on the show. Become one of our guest speakers so you can inspire other practitioners like us, arrive as an authority in your field, and connect with thousands of like-minded healthcare leaders who need to hear what you have to say. Apply to be a featured guest speaker on an episode on The Provider's Edge by visiting sabrinarunbeck.com/interviews.